Has the Florida housing market bottomed out? That's what everybody wants to know. That's what we're going to talk about today. And we are going to start with a deep dive on data, right? The truth is, anybody can make up a story, anybody can tell you a lie, but the fact is, the numbers don't lie. The numbers always tell the story. And we're going to start there because, in spite of what I just said, I'm also going to share some personal stories, some case studies into what's happening right now, which I think will be instructive if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the South Florida region. And I'm going to cover a lot of ground today. I promise to be as brief as possible, but when I talk about housing market, what that really means is, well, it really depends on what you're talking about, right? So there are plenty of content creators that talk about the housing market. They're talking about the national housing market. Well, the national housing market doesn't give you any detail into what's happening in our hyper-local market. And the same goes true with if I start talking about exactly what's happening in the Boca Raton or the Delray Beach market. Well, there are so many different subdivisions, so many different product types, so many different hyper local markets that exist within the big market that if I talk from a 5,000-foot overview of city or really anything other than hyper granular, it's not helpful information. Yes, it gives you an idea of what the trends are from a big picture perspective, but that's not at all helpful if you're actually shopping in certain areas. Now, today I'm going to cover a variety of different hyper local markets that exist within Delray Beach, within Boca Raton, and within Parkland, Florida. And we're going to talk about some single family homes. We're going to talk about some coastal oceanfront. And well, one of them is oceanfront, one of them is coastal, but it's right there on right off of Atlantic Avenue, right next to the beach, within walking distance of everything that everybody wants in downtown Delray. So I'm covering a lot of ground, many different hyper local markets that are going to be very different in terms of how they trade, how they are priced, how there is demand for them. But I think this information is very helpful because it will give you some idea of what's actually happening right now. And it will answer the question, has the South Florida market bottomed out? And enough of me, enough sales pitch. Let's get right into the numbers and see what you think. All right. Because again, the numbers don't lie. All right, so let's start with the 5,000-foot overview in Delray Beach. Let's do a deep dive because the first three properties that I'm going to share with you are in Delray Beach. Now, they are very different products. They are in very different locations. They are very different buyers that are shopping in these hyper-local markets. And they are very different sellers that are selling in these hyper-local markets. But if you are thinking about buying or selling, you must work with someone who knows the hyper-local, granular intensity of the market in order to get what you want, because that is going to change radically no matter where you're at or no matter where you're shopping or wherever you're thinking about selling. So it's really critical to understand that the data that I'm sharing with you right now, although it is helpful on a regional level, it's completely useless where you're shopping. So I hope I didn't undermine or undervalue the importance of this information. Just know we're going to go hyper granular here momentarily. All right, so we're looking at Delray Beach housing market data. Now, this is old data. This is December. We're about to enter February. The January numbers for Delray Beach or for anywhere else in the local market will not be out until mid-February. I think it's February 20th. Not 100% sure. I got to check that. But it's not going to be out until damn near the end of February, which means that what we're looking at right now is very old. It is very lagging. It is not current, but it's the most recent data that we have. So if you're looking at this and trying to confirm what's going on right now, totally useless. But nonetheless, in Delray Beach for December 2022, talking about single family homes right now, closed sales were down 40%. Median sales price was down 9.6%. Now, I've talked a lot about the median sales price in other content. I'm going to do it again right now in case you haven't seen that. But the median sales price is the middle number. So it gives you the middle number on the, if you have an extreme low and extreme high. So I'm just going to make this up. The low sales price is one, meaning $1, and the high sales price is $100. Well, then the median sales price is going to be 50. The average sales price is the number that you really need to be aware of, and that number upticked by just under 1%. So I have been talking about what I expect the future will look like in terms of regional appreciation, and I've said this now for a long time. So if you've been watching for a while, you know I've been consistent with this messaging, but I expect we're going to see single-digit appreciation throughout 2023. And I could be wrong. It could go down. It could go up significantly. I have no idea what the future holds in terms of Fed policy or economic conditions or any of those things. I have a suspicion of what I think is going to happen, and I think it's going to be a much more challenging environment for the consumer who's feeling the pain of recession. But that does not mean that I'm talking about the affluent buyers who are shopping in my market, right? And we are blessed to work with a lot of people who are shopping for some extremely nice, extremely pricey real estate. That's not everybody. So it really is going to be helpful to understand where you're shopping, who you're working with, and what these numbers are and how they relate to you. But let's keep on trucking. Average sales price was up 1%. And it's at 1.278,525, right? Dollar volume is down significantly. Well, that makes sense because the closed sales are down 40%. Percent of original list price received down 7% and 89.4%. That's a big drop. There's no two ways about it. 89.4%. That tells me that two things are happening. One, chances are there are a lot of overpriced listings. And if you keep watching, you're going to hear about one because we just negotiated a phenomenal deal, a $75,000 discount off the original list price on a single family home in Delray Beach. And we're just getting started with that. So I suspect we're going to do a little bit better, yet to be determined. I don't know, but that's what's happening right now in one of the hyper local markets that exist within Delray Beach. But again, critical to understand the oceanfront homes that I'm looking, or the oceanfront condos, the oceanfront townhomes, and the luxury townhomes that exist right off of Atlantic Avenue, a block from the beach. That's a totally different market, and that's chances are, although I may be able to negotiate a discount, that premium is real. The coastal lifestyle, everyone will pay a premium for because there is such a scarcity of resource. There is such scarcity that exists in that hyper local market that when a certain product type comes out, and the cool thing about what I'm going to share is I got two very different products within that hyper local market, but they're going to trade differently, right? And I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, median time to contract up 50%. I've been talking about that trend all along. It's taking longer for homes to go under contract. I'm still in single family here. I'm going to hit townhome and condo prices, but these numbers in Delray are totally skewed because, again, we're talking about hyper local markets that exist within the big market, and these prices don't have they're light years from the products that I'm showing right now to active clients that are shopping. But I think it's important that you understand exactly what's going on so we can try to determine whether the market has bottomed out. Nonetheless, time to contract up 50%, pending sales down 37.9%, new listings down almost 20%. Inventory of homes for sale up 77.2%. That trend is going to continue, my friends. Inventory of homes for sale, homes that are sitting on the market unsold, your competition if you're thinking about selling, and your choices if you're thinking about buying. That number is going to continue to increase. And month supply of inventory up 100 and almost 60%. Big number. That's 3.1 months. that is still a seller's market. It is trending to neutral. It will, I would be shocked if by the time the January numbers come out in February, we don't have a much stronger buyer's market. But yet to be determined, I don't know. I'll continue to tell you the truth. Townhome and condos in Delray Beach. Remember, we have not gone hyper granular. We have not gone hyper local. We are still talking from a 5,000 foot overview in Delray Beach. And we're also going to cover a little bit of Boca, new construction. We're going to cover some luxury properties that exist in a hyper-local market in Parkland. So please stick around. We're going to continue to tell you the truth about what's happening right now today. I can't predict the future. I can obviously share with you the past because this is December, but I don't want people to come in with a massive bias as to what the market is, because if you have that bias, chances are you're getting bad information and you don't know how to price your home, and you certainly don't know what kind of contract to write up relative to the intensity of the market. So it is critical that you work with someone that understands exactly what those dynamics are. Otherwise, you're going to be running around in circles and not have a clue how to get what you want. Now, it is also factually true. Many of you who watch are not in my hyper-local market. You may be in another state. You may be in another country. Please understand, we can serve and support you at the highest level by connecting you with someone that we know, like, and trust, someone that is an all-star that can negotiate the best deal or advocate for you in the highest possible way so that you get what you want. And if that's something that's somebody that we know, like, and trust, that we've done business with in the past. So this is not just a blind referral. This is somebody that is an all-star that we vetted. If that is something that is useful to you, then please reach out. Shoot me an email at chris@igohomegroup.com, or I will have a link underneath here in the ad copy. Click that. We'll hook you up. And away we go. I'm not editing this video, so there's not going to be any kind of B-roll to make it more stimulating. I hope that I'm entertaining enough to keep you interested in what we're talking about today. And if you find it interesting, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend, watch my next video, but keep the mojo going. All right, townhomes. Let's get back into it. Townhomes, December 2022, closed sales down 31%. Median sales price, I'm not talking about. And you know what? I hate this. I don't even know why median sales price is involved in any of this data, because it's just complete garbage. Let's look at the average sales price. Average sales price up 2.6%. Again, confirming what I've said, single digit growth. I think that's what we're going to continue to see depending on where you're at. But from a 5,000 foot overview in Palm Beach County, specifically South Palm Beach County, where I service, I suspect it's going to be single digit growth. I think the days of 20 and 30% appreciation are over, at least for now. Long term, the trend is your friend. Short term, the trend is not going to be your friend, depending on where you're shopping. Dollar volume. Well, given that the closed sales were down 31%, you know that that total dollar volume is going to be down too, and it is. It's down almost 30%. Original list price received down 4.3% at 93.3%. Median times to sales. I can't speak. Let's get a little bit of coffee here. La la la. La 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 la. All right, I'm back. So median time to contract up 66.7%. Let's round it up. Let's call it 67. It takes longer to go under contract. That trend continues to be confirmed in every market that I share housing data about. Pending sales down 40%. New listings down 11%. Probably got something to do with seasonality, although yet to be determined. I don't know. Inventory of homes for sale up 85%. Well, this is townhomes and condos, just to be clear. Doesn't say that here, so you might get confused. But it's up 85%, which is great if you're shopping. You got a lot more choices. Not so great if you're selling. There's a lot more competition. Months supply of inventory up 141%, 2.9 months. Again, that is still a seller's market. But let's wait and see what happens in February when they come out with the January numbers, because This is old, this is lagging, and this is probably not what the market dynamic, not probably, this is 100% not going to be what the market dynamics are if you are shopping in a hyper-local market. Period. End of story. Which brings me to, and let's see here. Which brings me back to you face to face. So, I want to tell a couple stories here that have happened over the course of the past week. And with this, I went and did a little bit of research into what I can actually share about these properties that we are actively pursuing. And what I've learned is I can't share anything because it is very clearly labeled. Any broker advertise is no, which means that if I were to go out there and showcase a little bit more information, I would likely get hit with an ethics complaint, which, full disclosure, I just got hit with one from a video that I did, I think 3 years ago, where I included a picture of a home that was for sale that I went and showed. And honestly, I spaced. I didn't realize that it was labeled no to any broker advertise. And so now I'm facing an ethics complaint with the MLS, which frankly, I'm guilty. I did it, and I will tell them as much. But when it was pointed out to me and when it was brought to my attention, I did take the video down. And full disclosure, this was before I figured out how to actually work YouTube the right way. I don't think anybody actually saw the video. I think this is a case of the listing agent getting upset, feeling like I violated her. I don't know, her agreement. And so I took it down when it was brought to my attention. I am sorry. I apologize. Bad Chris. I won't do it again. But honestly, in that video, the home that she had for sale, which I don't even know if it sold or not, there were like 2 pictures. It lasted maybe less than 2 seconds. And so yet to be determined as to what the fine or violation or spanking I'm going to get is going to be. But, you know, I'm a big boy. I'll take big hits. It's the cost of doing business. And I learned my lesson. So let's keep on trucking here and talk about some of these other properties that exist. So I can't show you. I would love to do a screen share and show you these actual properties, but I can't do that, as I mentioned, because I'll be looking at another ethics complaint, which I don't want. I'm sure, you know, I might win in spite of the fact that I didn't know any better. And you know what? Not knowing what the rules are is not does not absolve you from them. So I'm going to get whatever I get, and that will be fine. But obviously, I don't want to violate the same thing. My personal opinion on that is I think these agents should be thankful that I did them because I'm giving them more attention. I'm giving their product more attention. And honestly, I don't want to say none of them. Many of these agents don't know how to market their homes in the first place, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless, my no good deed goes unpunished, right? So back to a property that we found. I'm working with some clients. They found their dream home. These folks have a young family, 2 small kids. They're my friends. I've helped them in the past, and they've outgrown their home, but they're sensitive to interest rates, and interest rates have gone bonkers. But yet they've outgrown their home, so they need a new one, and they're shopping. And they found a home that happens to be exactly where they want it to be, right next to their family, right next to their in-laws, right next to their sister. I mean, it couldn't be any better. So we go there, we check it out. They fall in love. It's all good. We put a deal together. And this is why it is critical to understand the market. The home which has been sitting on the market for, I think it was close to 60 days, is massively overpriced. So we got that at a $75,000 discount to where it was originally listed. That is the reality of the market. And now, to be clear, this is an older community. This is an older home. There are all kinds of conditional issues that are going to pop on the inspection. And this is not a new product. This is a dated home. So it can't be priced as if it is a brand new home, which is big, open, bright, modern, luxurious, all those things. Can't be priced that way. It's got to be priced the right way, which it wasn't. However, we got it under contract at the right price. And now we're going to be subject to an appraisal and an inspection, and that will likely yield a better result for my buyers. Yet to be determined, I don't know. But let's move from there. So that was in Central Delray. Also, and are working with some clients right now that are looking for a premium luxury product. They want to be close to the beach. In fact, they looked at some townhomes that were directly on the ocean. And so that shopper and that product is a lot different than the home that I just described. Completely different market, completely different intensity. Those numbers, those metrics do not line up with anything that I just shared. This is paying a premium. Anybody who is shopping for something coastal in Florida is going to pay a premium for that lifestyle. And and these two properties are no different. So the first one that we went to is sick. It is right off Atlantic Avenue. It happens to be set back far enough to where it's not really in the densest, most action-oriented spot within Atlantic Avenue. And if you're familiar with downtown Delray, you understand the difference. It happens to be right across from the beach. So it's maybe a block in from where the actual Delray Beach pavilion is and the ocean, right? So it's right in the heart of everything, but it's set off a block or two so that it doesn't have the intensity of everything that goes down as you're a little bit past the intercoastal and into Delray Market Square, and where there's a lot more action, right? Which is good because you don't necessarily want that intensity, but it's within walking distance and you're paying a premium for walkability. A lot of people that I talk to, a lot of people that are thinking about relocating, they talk about, I really want to have something with walkability. Well, downtown Delray in Atlantic, or off of Atlantic Avenue, is one of the only places that has walkability, period. Everything else, it's so damn hot down here that if you want to walk somewhere, best of luck. By the time you get there, you're going to be melted. But that's not the case in downtown Delray Beach because there is incredible luxury real estate that exists right off Atlantic Avenue, but you're going to pay a premium for that. And this is no exception. Nonetheless, so the property that we're showing is priced right around $4 million. The listing agent that we met with was exceptional. Could not have been any nicer. Could not have been any more accommodating or professional. We had an incredible experience. And I suspect that they're really considering this particular property. Yet to be determined, I don't know. But everyone left that showing with good vibes. Everybody felt great about it. Exceptional property, exceptional listing agent. It was all good. We went to the next one. The next property that we went to was on the ocean, direct ocean access, multi-million-dollar ocean view. I mean, incredible view. The layout of this townhome was probably the dumbest thing I had ever seen. It was so wonky. It was so claustrophobic. It was so small that no, not to not to badmouth it too much. You're paying a premium to live that lifestyle right on the ocean. But if you intend to have your family there and proximity of your family to enjoy and max out that lifestyle, this is not the property for you, because when you walked in, there's a little courtyard. There is a private separate residence, which is a separate building to the main building, which is right on the ocean. And so if you've got a family and you want to max out South Florida living with them, watch the football game, check out the ocean, and really max out the utility of this space, well, this is not the right townhome for you, because it doesn't do that. It's just a really unusual, older, dated concept. And frankly, I don't know any of my clients who would be interested in that experience. But anyhow, wasn't the right home for them. Long way of getting to. Wasn't the right property for them, but it might be the right property for somebody else. However, the listing agent could not have been any worse. Could not have been any, not that she wasn't unprofessional, although maybe in some cases she was, but she had an attitude problem. She was short. She was not friendly. Not, when I say she was short, I don't mean she was physically short. I meant was very short with us. She had a major attitude problem. She was very inflexible in showing schedule. She was not friendly. We left there without a warm, fuzzy feeling. And in fact, when we got back in the car to go for a tour of downtown Delray, my incredibly cool, incredibly nice clients said, we were done with this before we even walked in because of the way she treated us before we walked into the property. And when I say us, I really mean me, because there was a little parking snafu that happened prior to going in, because I made the mistake of thinking that I could park in front of the property, which evidently that was not the case. So nonetheless, that is that product type. It's a $4 million townhome right on the ocean. And frankly, do I think it's going to sell? No, not anytime soon, and not at that price. I could be wrong, yet to be determined, but I don't think so. Why? Because it's not the type of product that today's consumer wants. Yet to be determined, I don't know. But from there, let's pivot to another property that exists out in Parkland. Now, I know I'm all over the place. I hope you find this content valuable. And to just re-anchor ourselves back to the data, as I hope it's clear, the data that I showed in Delray Beach is completely different than my experience in showing these different types of products that exist within Delray Beach, which I hope is proof positive that the big 5,000 foot overview is completely useless as it relates to hyperlocal markets that exist within the same area. Okay. Now let's jump, actually not to Parkland. I'm going to jump to West Boca Raton, and I've covered Boca Raton is in my wheelhouse. Parkland's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, in spite of the fact that I grew up there and know it very well. It's just geographically undesirable for me to serve and support at a high level all the time. It has to be the right product. It's got to be the right client. Otherwise, I'm honestly not going to waste my time. I'll outsource it to somebody on my team. But getting back to Boca Raton, and I will cover Parkland, and I hope that didn't sound too bad, but that's the truth. Getting back to West Boca Raton. So a lot of new construction out in West Boca, a lot of new construction out in West Delray, and all of it is being built by GL Homes. And GL Homes is known for putting out a very quality product, a very luxury product, a very luxury lifestyle experience in Lotus, in Lotus Palm, in Boca Bridges, in Seven Bridges, in the Bridges, and in the Canyons Enclave. And I've talked a lot about this in the past, but the new construction that they're putting out, there's tremendous demand for it. And when a pricing anomaly does pop up, it needs to be jumped on immediately. So I've talked a lot about new construction in the past. Well, everybody wants to know, what's the demand for that new construction? Is there a weakness in that market? And anytime I've ever talked to the sales force within any of these communities, they continue to reaffirm that demand is strong. And I ask all the time, are there going to be any real concessions or price cuts or any of this kind of stuff? No, no, no. They're bullish. And how can I prove that to be true? Well, they're continuing to push to work with the municipality to buy more land in West Boca. So I would have to believe that if they're continuing to try and develop more land, which, by the way, there is no more land. This is a fierce, contentious battle for them to be able to buy more land. I think they'll probably get it because money talks and bullshit walks, but there's just simply no more land. Anyway, I digress. Proof positive that there's more demand. But we found a home. I'm working with another client who is thinking about relocating from California, and they're not thinking about it. They are absolutely going to do it because their son has already been accepted into A.D. Henderson, which happens to be where my children go to school. However, they're motivated, they're shopping, we're looking at different inventory, and we find a single family home in Lotus that appears to be a pricing anomaly, and it's labeled a quick delivery home. Well, what is a quick delivery home? If you Google it, what you're going to find is that a quick delivery home is a speculative home that a builder has built intentionally for profit. Well, that could be true. That's not the case here. This quick delivery home is definitively a home that somebody else had under contract that failed to perform. And so they need to offload this inventory. They priced it aggressively, and the market will determine how fast that home is going to sell. And it sold almost instantaneously. So I went to show my clients that home. They loved the price. They thought about the opportunity, and they wanted some time to think about it. They wanted overnight to think about it. By the time they had come around in the next morning and had thought about it and made a decision what they would like to do, the house was already under contract. So I share that not to share the loss or share their pain, but to tell you the truth, which is if you find a pricing anomaly in one of these new developments, you must act quickly, because in spite of all the bad news that you're hearing about the housing market falling apart, in many instances, in many hyperlocal markets, it's simply not true. Depends on where you're shopping. And again, I'm talking hyperlocally here. I'm talking in Lotus, which is in West Boca, right? Which brings me back to Parkland, which I started talking about before. We're shopping in Parkland. We're shopping in Heron Bay. We're shopping in the Colony. There are some incredibly nice homes that are for sale that have more land than you would typically get in some of the newer construction that exists here. I'm losing my voice again. Exists here regionally. Woo, excuse me. Nonetheless, we're shopping around the $2 to $3 million price point. We're looking at some incredible homes, and it's a tale of two different products. One of these homes is, I would say, priced right or priced close to the market, and it is turnkey. It is beautiful. It is big. It is open. It is bright. It has got a sick point lot. It's got an incredible backyard, pool, etc. I mean, it is a super nice home. And what do I know about that home? I can tell you there were a ton of showings, and I'm friendly with that agent. Super nice, very professional, happens to be with the brokerage that I used to be affiliated with. So very likely that we can put a deal together there. But what's the temperature of that market? Well, then she's been getting showings galore. Well, why is that? If the market's falling apart, well, then why are there so many showings on these homes? Because the truth is demand is strong for that type of product in that hyper local market, which again is going to be completely contingent on where you're shopping. So the fact that it exists in these micro markets in my market doesn't mean it's going to be like that everywhere in the state of Florida. I'm just sharing what's happening right now so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. I think that wraps that up. So I hope you found this content valuable. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel. If there's anything we can do to help serve or support you, then please reach out directly. If you need a referral, then click this link here. We'll get you set up right away. I am not going to edit this video whatsoever. I want to get it out immediately so that you have the most recent information or the most boots on the ground perspective that I can possibly give you, which I just did. So make it a great day. Go out there and get some, and check out my next video because I suspect you'll love it a lot. And until next time,